Welcome to the Software People Stories. I'm Shiv.
I'm Chitra.
And I'm Gayatri.
We bring you interesting, untold stories of people
Associated with the creation
Or consumption of software-based solutions.
You'll hear stories of what worked,
and sometimes what didn't,
you will also hear very personal experiences.
and insights that would trigger your thoughts
And inspire you to do even greater things. In the first part of a two-part episode with Bharath Kumar, who's the marketing head for Zoho Creators, Bharat shares his journey starting as a software developer, passing out from College of Engineering, Gindi, Chennai, and moving on to taking up a marketing role based on his passion of packaging, idea generation, presenting, and creating great moments on a daily basis. He went on to become a marketing and a content manager for Airtel and becoming the circle head and coming back into software with Ramco systems and the Zoho for the developers itself. And it is an amazing journey he shares. Please listen on. Welcome to Software People Stories, Bharat. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure, Gayatri. Thanks for having me here.
All right. So, Bharat, I know you personally for 5 years now, but I want you to introduce yourself to our listeners in your own words.
Yeah, sure. This is the typical tell me about yourself interview question. So I'm prepared for this. Currently I work as a marketing manager at Zoho, SaaS organization. That's where I am. My journey has been a typical small town boy. I come from a place called Kadalur near Pondicherry in Tamil Nadu here. Schooling still 12th there, then came to Chennai for engineering, worked for Infosys as a developer, then wanted to get into marketing. Worked predominantly in Airtel as a B2C marketing communication person. Then worked in the previous stint was with Ramco ERP, a software player, more into the logistics ERP marketing role. From then on, for the last 5 years almost, I'm with Zoho. My role currently is focused on marketing plus also customer experience, partnership, alliances. So in a way, more of the GTM efforts of the developer tools of Zoho. That's what I do currently.
Wow. Just to be clear, right? You and I were working for Infosys around the same time, between 2006 to 2009. That is what my research has told, though we didn't meet at that point in time. And so tell me, what propelled you to move away from software? I know you started your career in software. I'm sure Infosys would have been a great start and to put yourself in a good stead. What was the reason for moving away from software but still supporting software? I want to understand that.
So I wouldn't look at it as moving away from software, but something that I felt like right from my college days. Like I did my engineering in Chennai at the College of Engineering Gindi. Predominantly, let's say the things that I enjoyed were happening outside the classroom, in the sense that I used to be the MC for our events. I used to be the coordinator for multiple programs and so on and so forth. So somehow subconsciously or intentionally, I was developing a thought in my mind that, hey, marketing, customer facing roles are some things that you will enjoy, Bharat. Was the identity that I was giving myself due to certain personal reasons. So I have two younger brothers who are twins. Certain financial reasons, like I graduated and they started their college. So I realized that my parents cannot support 3 students at the same time. So I thought, okay, I'll work for a couple of years. Also, that time, a lot of institutes were valuing pre-MBA experience. It was, in fact, a parameter for admissions and so on. So obviously, Infosys is a great place to be. And third year, 2006 is when I completed my engineering. So 2005, third year itself, placements used to start and I got placed then itself. So I looked at it as a nice launchpad. The last year in engineering also, I focused more on these skills, let's say public speaking, presentation, coordination with people and so on. And then 3 years of Infosys, I enjoyed. So I used to work for mainframes for the first 1.5, 2 years, and then in .NET for the next 1 year. It was a good experience. I wouldn't say that I didn't like it, etc., but just that somehow I felt my passion was more on the customer facing side than the developer side. And then I ended up again being in software at the end. So be it Ramco or Zoho, I am still in the software space of things.
Wonderful. And I think many listeners will also appreciate this part of understanding where is your strength and going and pursuing that. You pursued a MBA to make that switch. How was that journey? How did you decide to do MBA? And even in MBA, there's so many plethora of options. So what was your journey there?
Like I touched upon, Gayatri, I don't think I was like crystal clear that this is what I wanted to do or something like that. But for me, my thought process was like this. What were my best days, be it, let's say, engineering or otherwise? Even now, when I look back at what am I enjoying, that is one parameter that I go back to. Like, when did you have a great day? When did you go back to your family and say, wow, that was a nice day? Or when you talk to friends, you say, oh, it was maybe hectic, but I really like the day today. Those are the things that I wanted to do again and again. So in a very crude way, in my engineering days, during whatever experience that I had initially, I felt those interacting with people, presenting an idea, packaging a thought and delivering it were the things that I really liked. So let's say even when I did my engineering project, that was something that I liked more than the actual project work, which was good. But how I presented it, how I got applause from the audience for my idea, those are the things that gave me kick. So from that, I sort of vaguely thought, okay, marketing, people handling or presenting, those are the things that you will enjoy, Bharat. And then I started moving towards that space. Even at Infosys, while I was a developer, I did a lot of these small projects as, let's say, knowledge management prime. I used to run quiz for my team, which were not a part of the job description per se, but those are the things that sort of gave me an identity. Like I was not the best developer out there, but I was the most approachable, most people friendly sort of a person out there. So that was in a way my identity. So then obviously wanted to do an MBA because at least now a lot of organizations are open to having people without a, let's say, a marketing or let's say an MBA degree into their marketing systems. But that time, 2009, that came as a showstopper. Like even Infosys, there was not an opportunity for me to move to marketing internally because the systems were expecting that, hey, you should have an MBA or you should have a degree from such a background, etc. So I had a few options and I went with Great Lakes. Great Lakes is predominantly known as a marketing institute, as in their strength is mostly on the marketing side of things. While they also offer a lot of like finance, IT ops, others are also offered as selectives, but a lot of professors who come there are from the who's who of, let's say, marketing side of things. And then after I went in, when I sat through the sessions, when I sat through the classes, I felt, okay, I am getting excited by these courses. So I sort of doubled down on my thinking, saying, okay, I'll spend more time on marketing, and took marketing as my major. Like 3 months after you're in the course, you're given a choice. Okay, now you have to select your electives. Will it be finance? Will it be ops? Will it be marketing? That time I was very clear that, okay, I want to get into marketing, and I went ahead with that.
Wow, wonderful. And in fact, the other funny thing, Bharat, is that you and I were in the Great Lakes Institute around the same time. Though you might have been, you were full time, right? I was doing my executive MBA. I was doing my
okay.
6 p.m. So a small world, huh?
Oh, yes, nice. Yeah, definitely.
I know that you were in Great Lake, but I didn't realize that it's around the same time. But at the time, we didn't have a campus. So we were actually in Srinagar colony and all of that. So it's good, interesting. So
yeah, in fact, we were the first batch in that campus. So for the first 2 months, we were staying in MGM Beach Resort and shuttling to campus the same day. And one other weird personal thing, just a deviation, is the campus, the Srinagar campus from where Great Lakes was operating earlier, is where my son Keshav's school tips was operating initially. So when we went there for admission, we were like, oh, because my wife is also from Great Lakes, so the connect continued. When we went for admissions, and we were like, oh, this is the same place where we came for Great Lakes admission. So yeah.
Very, very interesting, Bharat. In fact, I mean, I like the way you're saying about the great days that I had, and repeating it over and over again. I mean, I tell you, sometimes I find that's a luxury that people have early on, and many times I keep telling people that you can take a choice at a later stage. It's not like at least particularly now that everybody values those cross functional skills. where you
Yeah.
have, E-shaped engineers, E-shaped professional. So I think having that sort of a software background and engineering skills, as well as adding that MBA and professional degree, I think it would have really made you more focused in the skills, right? So tell me more
Definitely.
about, after you finished your MBA, what were the decisions that you had to take?
Got it. So I was clear that I wanted to get into marketing. So I was on a sabbatical from Infosys. So when I finished my MBA, the first company that came to Great Lakes uh, was Infosys, or like first day was Infosys. I got an offer, but it was not a marketing role. Some confusion happened. Like Infosys, with no disrespect, such a large organization. Like I was recruited in the campus, and then the offer was rescinded because the HR said, "Hey, you are not quit from Infosys. You are a sabbatical, so you have to come back and then change to the marketing stream," which didn't happen. So that's for a different day. Then I was like, okay, maybe this is a sign from the universe telling, don't shift your focus, we'll focus on marketing. And I had a professor, a mentor that I used to look up to. He's no more. He connected me with an opportunity for a rural marketing avenue that time. So it's a part of the erstwhile Bank of Madura group. It's called Madura Micro Finance, which is where I started my marketing stint. Fantastic learning experience because the role had two parts to it. One is microfinance entities used to work with rural women, giving them small loans, etc., small self-help group loans. So my role was educating them, like telling them that, hey, the 10,000 rupees that you get as a loan, instead of buying a TV, buy maybe a grinder. In a way, buy things that will give you returns. You can invest it in your business, etc. So educating them on what are some avenues, how to calculate your cost. Generally, when people calculate their cost, they don't include their cost. Like I am a woman doing something for my own. I look at the ingredients cost, but I don't look at the effort that I am putting as a cost and making profit out of it, etc. So things like that, educating rural women, people who are getting loan of a 10,000 rupees. So in a way, that is an indication of the social profile that they are in. So that used to be like half of my day. The other half will be interacting with corporates. Like I've interacted with the brand heads of Kevin Care, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola had a product called Vitingo, which used to treat anemia. So telling them that, hey, I already have a 4 lakh rural women base to whom we give loans, and we meet them twice a month through our distribution channel, collecting those loan money, giving loans, etc. That system is set up. You can use me as a bridge to get connected to them, but use it in a productive way, in the sense that you want distributors for your parachute oil in rural pockets. We are talking about tier 3, tier 4 cities, towns. You can use our existing funnel or existing network to get connected. So my interactions will be either of these extremes, going to a Karaikudi or like places that are 60 kilometers from Karaikudi and sitting in a self-help group meeting and educating them, talking to them about things. And then the next day going to a parachute, Kevin Care's office and sitting in the AC room and talking about brand strategy and plans, etc., etc. So it sort of, I think, molded me in a very nice way that, okay, I saw both the spectrum. And it was a good experience to start with. Unfortunately, there was at that time there was an issue called there was an SKS microfinance that went through an issue. The whole industry came under there was a new regulations that were introduced by the government saying microfinance industry should focus on microfinance and not more on the allied things. Which means the department that I was handling was called micro markets. There are a lot of restrictions on what is possible under the ambit of the government regulations. So I moved out and joined Airtel. So that's where my marketing stint started.
Wow, very, very interesting, Bharat. In fact, when you're saying about women, empowering women, and the recently we are trying to create some offering for the angel investment. So there we are actually talking about how if you invest in one woman, you actually have a 9 people impact. And if you have a one woman enterprise, it doesn't have to be a huge one. It's a small gig that has a 3 times impact. I mean, the multiplier effect is mind-boggling when it comes to actually
Definitely.
empowering, and it's amazing.
Definitely.
So how was your Airtel experience? Are you part of the advertisement side of things, or the actual marketing? How did that go?
Yeah, I think I believe in the Alchemist, the Paul Coelho's book, The Alchemist, which says when you really want something, the universe will conspire to give it to you. So I always wanted to get into advertising, while a lot of my friends said, you don't even know what you want. You're attracted by the fancy things of advertising, but the reality, there are a lot of challenges, etc. But yeah, Airtel role was a Marcom role, marketing communication role. Very crudely put, anywhere where you see an Airtel logo, it could be a poster, banner, leaflet, a retail store, an Airtel store, a store that you see inside an Express Avenue, let's say a mall, owned retail outlets, etc. All of those branding and communication around that brand is what I was in charge of. So Airtel works in circles, like each circle is like a self-sustained business unit. So I was a part of the KTN circle, Kerala Tamil Nadu circle. So the CEO was like the P&L owner for the circle, and I was a part of that team. That was a pure Marcom role. So in telecom, marketing is very, I would say, powerful in the sense that deciding what benefits will be given for a specific pack, where network should be installed, where energy should be spent on, let's say, a 4G, 5G launch, etc. All of those are data driven, which is predominantly executed driven by the marketing team. Obviously, it's a team effort, multiple teams work together, sales, network operations, etc. But a lot of those thought process and decisions happen at the marketing table. My role was not into those core aspects. It was more on the communication aspect of things. So if a 3G is or a 4G or now a 5G launch is happening in a city, the communication plan around it, what activities you will do, how will you create that noise in the market, the buzz in the market, was what my goal was. And telecom is a very competitive space. Like retail stores, I am not sure how many people actually give importance to that, but at least we in the telecom space give a lot of importance. Like if you see, let's say, an Anbu mobile and people go there to recharge, ensuring that the Anbu mobile's facade, the store head, this thing looks like there is an Airtel branding. It's an Airtel logo that is there and not a Idea Vodafone logo, etc. Right? It used to be that level of race. When you travel on road, how many times you are spotting an Airtel logo versus a competitor logo? That was my role. Giving as much visibility to Airtel as a brand, starting from the fancier things are the TV ads. That time we were also a sponsor of the cricket matches. So I got access to those pavilion tickets when India played matches in Chennai and so on. So those are, let's say, the 10% time, but the fancier part. But most of the work is on. I've also traveled from Chennai to Trichy in car, stopping at, let's say, 100 places to measure wall paintings that are done, where an Airtel logo will be painted on the wall. So before approving the bill, we'll have to validate, randomly check some locations and go and see the vendor bill and the actual painting. Are they correct? Is the logo painted the right way? Is the dimensions the right? The vendor is billing for 10 feet by 20 feet height, and the payment is on a per square foot basis. Is the size actually what he is claiming for, etc., etc. So again, in a nutshell, any Airtel logo, Airtel communication that happens, I would be involved. TV ads, etc., run centrally, but the Tamil translation happens here. So when I joined was the Tera Mera campaign. So which was like in 2011-12, a very famous, very good hit. Like after the A.R. Rahman ad of Airtel, this was, let's say, the second best performing ad of Airtel. Even then, there was a lot of interesting conversations, very purely because the central team sits in Delhi and there used to be an agency who was here. So the translation was for Tera Mera, what was proposed was, Edu ennodiyado, adu unnodiyadu. But we had to tell them that that's not how Tamil works. Edu unnudo, adu ennadu. Then it became a huge debate point. Are you disrespecting Tamil? Like, will people feel disrespected when you use a colloquial, unnadu ennadu? Can you use it in a TV ad? Will that be seen as inappropriate? And then we had to tell, no, that's how we talk. and things like that happened. So those are the interesting part of the work. But communication was what I was handling.
Wow. I have two follow-up questions, Bharath. I don't know if you're comfortable answering, but I'll probably ask anyway. First, one question is the amount of data that today we are using in marketing analytics and everything. We are using, tons of data, right? At whether your mouse click or your arms are going here or there. So based on that, right? How much of data was used and how much of software was it being used to even say how much is the search? Is there an additional number of acquisitions that are happening in that area and analytics? So I would like to understand that. And second question, I'll follow up on that.
Yeah, I think I will start with Airtel and even continue with other organizations, especially marketing, let's say search campaigns, remarketing campaigns, etc. We get access to the data. Like, okay, so many people viewed your page, so many people clicked your ad, so many people filled your form. So it's in a way, it gives you a funnel saying from the initial exposure to the final purchase, what are the different stages and how much was the loss or how many people backed out in a particular stage, etc. So that data is definitely available for marketers. See, the thing is, certain times we decide to go by data, saying, okay, this is what data suggests, let's optimize this part. Certain times we go with what it ought to be. Like certain decisions cannot be made just because data says so. Sometimes our gut feel, our conviction will say it's okay. We go ahead and launch this because it ought to be done here. Let's say we have to, let's say, start with a random example of 5G launch near a college area. Maybe the data currently may not say that, but you know that, okay, if it's a college, let's say a VIT, where people from multiple states are going to come, it makes sense for you to try a launch there and see how the performance is, how people are using data, how YouTube is working, buffering, etc., etc. So sometimes we go with the gut feel as well. But predominantly from a spend point of view, where you invest money in, we look at a lot of data to make those decisions.
Wonderful. Were you even at that point in time when you're using so much of data analytics and everything, did you feel that, hey, did I make the right call of switching? Was there even a qualm? Because right now, if you look at marketing teams, they have like huge number of AI people from software, from data scientists, and specialists are there, communication specialists are there. I'm not even denying that part, but still the team itself has become so cross-functional.
Yeah.
Has it happened, or is it helping you in some way or shape?
You mean the focus on data, is it helping or not? Is that the crux of it?
Focus on data and focus on the background of engineering, because purely marketing professionals typically have more of the creative eye and looking at it from saying that, is the kinesthetics working, is the sensitivity is working fine. Those are really they are more heightened in the other side. So that's why I was checking in.
Got it. I think I'll have a very convoluted or like little complex answer to this question.
Sure.
First part is, I am more a max guy than an arts guy. So something that I enjoy is numbers, percentages, etc., etc. So naturally, there is that thought in my mind to go and look at the patterns, the percentages, the numbers, and I use that in my decision making. It has helped. But I also believe an eye for art, an eye for aesthetics helps everyone. And it's not just marketing. I think I'm slightly digressing, but let's say a chief minister, if he has an eye for aesthetics, the way a campaign, let's say something gets rolled out and the way it is communicated, the way it is, let's say even a placard that is placed, a logo that is used, everything will look nice. So it helps if you have a sense of aesthetics in any role. So chief minister is an extreme example, but even a project manager, even a marketing analyst, when there is that eye for aesthetics, it helps in the overall look and feel of the project and execution of the project. Now, from a data point of view, has it helped? It has definitely helped. But I've also felt sometimes we make the data speak what we want it to speak. So there is so much of data that is available that, let's say, beginning of the year, we commit to saying these are the 5 things my marketing department will be responsible for. And I go about optimizing it and honest in saying this has increased, this has decreased, which is a completely acceptable way of using data. But if that is not defined and during the process we decide which will be the parameter that we will measure, we can always play around. I can say that the total number of viewers have come down, but the clicks has increased. The clicks has come down, but the signups has increased. The number of customers has come down, but the revenue has increased because per customer revenue has increased. So then you're not acting, there is no actionable insight from the data. It is just ensuring that your job is safe. And also in Zoho, I've realized after coming in, Zoho is a very privacy focused organization. So a lot of those data visibility or information is sacrificed in the sense that there is no cookie measuring. So when generally remarketing, retargeting is a very common marketing tool. So let's say the common example, like a non-marketer would understand that you visit an Amazon and search for a shoe. Wherever you go, the shoe ad follows, right? That is remarketing. The system understands. It is basically done through a cookie dropped in your laptop or in your system. It is a very common marketing practice, but Zoho doesn't do that. Zoho says, I don't want to track the user. He came and searched for something, leave him in peace. When he wants, he will come back. So initially, I was also skeptical. Is it going to impact my marketing efficiency? Is it going to reduce my performance of the campaigns, etc.? But later I realized it doesn't matter. If you are measuring the overall LTV by CAC, lifetime value by cost of acquisition of a customer, in SaaS, generally a 4 to 5 is a good number, in the sense that you spend $100 to acquire a customer, you get $400 from that customer return, you are good, your business is sustainable. So when you focus on those macro parameters, these micro, what does this campaign give, how much click does this give, what is the CTR, it is good to know, but it is not like a showstopper that derails your marketing effort. So after coming in, I've accepted the fact that it's good to have some data, but decide what to focus on and what to ignore.
Cool, very cool. In fact, and my next question was around software. You have had two stints. I mean, currently you are head of marketing for Zoho. How has that transition been? Being Airtel is a very, very marketing driven organization, while in software, I don't know if it's the true today, is marketing is subtle. Marketing comes with the thought papers. You actually go to conference and say, these are really because by nature, services are slightly different compared to the products world. So how has that transition happened, and what is happening in terms of, your own learning and the path itself? As we heard the interesting journey of Bharath from being a technologist to becoming an entrepreneurial marketer, Bharath also shares his journey within marketing, from being marketing first firm to how do you keep the product first in the software world. He shares very, very interesting perspective in the second half. Enjoy.
We thank Siddharth for the music and Anita for promoting the Software People stories.
If you like this episode,
please subscribe on your favorite podcast client
and spread the word in your network.
If you'd like to share your story,
contact us at podcasts@pm-powerconsulting.com.